Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a video here to kick off a series of reviews I wanted to do because I've been on a Pirates of the Caribbean kick recently. I want to review for this first video, obviously, the first movie, and I haven't seen Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl since probably middle school, man. This movie came out in 2003, which is really hard to believe. 22 years ago? Jesus. Stars Johnny Depp, obviously, is probably everybody's favorite character, Captain Jack Sparrow. You got Orlando Bloom in here as Will Turner, and you have Elizabeth Swann, played by Keira Knightley. And whatever happened to Keira Knightley? You don't really see her doing much of anything anymore. I guess the best place for me to really begin my discussion here, so I have been really in a pulpy mood, as many of you can tell with some of my recent reviews I did about 2 weeks ago for like the Conan sequels and the remake. I've really just wanted to enjoy pulpy adventure stories and whatnot before I start reviewing the Superman movie series, God willing, before the James Gunn remake. And I wanted to check this one out after really thinking about how I love the horror elements of it and whatnot. I finally had all the movies I had never seen 4 and 5. I've seen 1 and 2 quite a bit, especially part 1, this movie. And I saw at World's End, number 3, like once. So I wanted to go to them again because I remember how much fun these used to be. And if you were not around back in the day, when this first Curse of the Black Pearl movie came out, you will never be able to understand how massive Pirates of the Caribbean was. It was everywhere. We're talking about drink cups at fast food restaurants. We're talking about toys at fast food restaurants. We're talking about, I had a friend named Casey that I was really good friends with. She's kind of a family friend too. She had a backpack that she used for like 4 years of our school years going together at school. With the Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl poster on the back of it. She was also obsessed with Johnny Depp, which made it even funnier. So anyway, this was a big deal. And now watching it in hindsight, I pick up on a lot of things I never picked up on as a kid. And I had a blast. So I would say up front, this particular movie, Curse of the Black Pearl, is probably the best one. It's probably easily the best out of all 5 of the movies. Everything from production value to the little bit of sketchy CGI that may not hold up that great, but still, it's pretty cool. The horror elements, the pulpy adventure stuff, the fight scenes, the shootout scenes, because yes, it's a Disney movie where they got to use guns. Isn't this based on a ride that Disneyland had or Disney World had or whatever? I think it is. But essentially, what you have here is Captain Jack Sparrow, who kind of carries himself as a very effeminate, drunk type of dude, played by Johnny Depp, like I said. He encounters a guy named Will Turner, who is in love with a girl named Elizabeth Swann, who's the daughter of a British governor. I think he is. And you kind of have this situation where it's like pirates versus the government, right? And Will Turner's a blacksmith, and Elizabeth Swann is kidnapped by this guy named Barbossa. Barbossa's kind of our big villain of this movie. He's a pretty important character to the franchise itself. Barbossa kidnaps her because of some Aztec gold or some shit like that. And Will Turner wants to save her, and he gets Jack Sparrow on the hook because Jack is a very selfish person, and he wants to get the gold. And that's pretty much the general story of this movie. However, it's not just a swashbuckling adventure, even though I hate that phrase. It's not just that. It's more of a ghost story. Pirates of the Caribbean made an excellent choice of not just being a straightforward, human versus human movie. It actually has, like, ghosts and myths from the sea, like, one of the big villains in the franchise is Davy Jones from movie 2 onward. You're watching SpongeBob as a 90s kid like I was, and you're hearing things about Davy Jones' locker and stuff. And then you watched Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3, and Davy Jones is there in the flesh, or in the tentacles. So I really love the choices they made with doing that. I think that was super smart. And I think the horror element adds even more to this, even though Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl scared the hell out of me and people my age when it came out back in the day. I wasn't even 10 years old when this movie came out. I was barely 8 or 9. It was horrifically creepy. And that's coming from somebody who grew up on Goosebumps and Twilight Zone, Tales from the Dark Side on TV, X-Files, Ripley's Believe It or Not, all of these things I loved, Scooby-Doo. But this was a whole new level, right? It was real tense, but it was real action-packed. And that mixed with all the humor and jokes in the movie kind of leveled it out, if that made sense, and made it an absolute classic for people my age. But everybody loved it. Everybody loved Curse of the Black Pearl. All the sets and the work on that, like with the ships and whatnot out in the ocean, it's shot so beautifully, dude. Gore Verbinski is such an underrated director. I really love what he did with the trilogy that he made of Pirates of the Caribbean 1 through 3. This is no different. I think it's the best made of all the movies, the best written of all 3 of the movies. But one thing I picked up with this particular film, and by the end I got to the end of the trilogy at World's End, it occurred to me the formula and dynamic that Pirates develops in this movie, but the formula that it copies and is inspired by with Star Wars. If you think back about the original trilogy and kind of the prequel trilogy too, having Luke, Han, and Leia, and then the prequels, you had Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme, that same kind of setup is what you have here. You kind of have a love triangle, but really it's not a triangle. It's kind of like, in this case, it's Jack Sparrow thinking Elizabeth Swann is beautiful, and she is. Him wanting to be with her, but she and Will Turner clearly have a thing going for them, even though they're not really together, you know? So not only do you have this kind of a set of friends, but not really friends, kind of frenemies situation, but you also have that romance developing between Will and Elizabeth in the movie. And I really love that. I think it really adds a lot more to the movie series than we ever realized. This is clearly inspired by Lucas' Star Wars work. And I think it really... You have to understand, at the time, when this movie came out, we didn't have Revenge of the Sith yet. We barely had Attack of the Clones right before this movie, a year before this movie. So it's almost like they heard the reception of the fans for Star Wars with the prequels, and Disney decided to make their own thing very similar to that. And of course, everybody's always trying to kick off new franchises. That's never not been a thing, you know what I mean? But it was almost like they were trying to jump in and steal the hurrah from Lucas. But yeah, I mean, I really, really love this. I think the writing is so strong. I think that the performances are so good here, dude. Probably, in my opinion, one of Orlando Bloom's best performances, and that's kind of weird because he doesn't really have a whole lot to do performance-wise. Character-wise, he does, like in action, in going hither and thither. But the dude himself, facial-wise and whatnot, he doesn't really have a whole lot to do. And neither does Keira Knightley. And yet those two, for me, will always be Will and Elizabeth. I don't see anybody else being able to take over those roles in a satisfying way. But yeah, I mean, I really love this. I recommend it highly if you haven't seen it before. Pretty fun, spooky kind of movie, but you have to watch it during the summer. This is not really the kind of eerie horror film, supernatural movie that you can watch like during the fall and really get that satisfaction because it's shot like on beaches and whatnot with the oceans and beautiful waters and whatnot. You need to watch this during the summertime. It's so good for that, dude. But it's a great flick for the family if your kids are old enough. It's a blast. It's a great date night movie, even though my wife is petrified by it. So anyway, have you seen Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about it down below. Is this your favorite of the series too, even though it's probably mine? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below about that. It's a shame we probably won't get more movies. I know they've been trying to make like a 6th movie for a while, and well, you know the whole thing that happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, so that's probably not going to happen because of Disney's bullshit. And I don't want like the female-led Pirates movie either. I'm not interested in that. I want Johnny Depp or nada. That's basically where I stand. So anyway, yeah, I'll continue the reviews, God willing, and, tune in if you like Pirates of the Caribbean films, and I'll probably do a ranking video at some point, because this is probably the only 5 that will ever matter to me. But anyway, thank you guys, God bless you all, catch you later, and goodbye.